Hey guys, welcome to another episode with me, Shashank Udappa. And today, in this episode, I'm quite excited because we're going to talk about something that everyone's talking about in the industry, and that is 5G. Right now, what is 5G? Why is everyone running behind 5G? And we've seen Airtel, Jio, local giants running behind 5G, and they want to be the first person to actually crack 5G. We've also seen international people like AT&T, Verizon also racing for 5G, right? Now, what is 5G? Number one. How is 5G different from 4G, 3G, 2G and 1G, right? How did we even arrive at 5G, and what is this new 5G movement that has come? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you might be thinking, I don't know what this is, right? There's 3G, there's 4G, there's 5G, will there be 6G? We don't understand how it works, right? We just keep thinking it's a new number that's being attached to the G, but that's not the case. So in this video, okay, we'll talk about everything. We'll talk about how we reached to 5G from 1G. So I'll tell you how the story that we came till 5G, and then we'll see who's going to win, right? First, we'll understand the market, we'll understand what's happening with the 5G segment, then we'll connect the dots and see who benefits from the 5G movement in this episode. Okay, so in the next segment, I'm going to start with how we reach to 5G. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how we started reaching towards 5G, right? Now let's understand this. I'm going to give you a simple analogy, right? Now the simple analogy of cell network, I'm going to compare it to a road network. Okay, I'm just going to compare the cell network to a road network so that it can become easy for you guys to understand. Now, internet and telecom networks can actually be seen as critical information highways of the world. Okay, if I have to call someone, again, internet and telecom is networks, over-the-air networks are seen as critical information highways of the world, right? There's transport highways that you see on the road, but this is information highway. Now let's look at how that happens. Now 1G, long ago with those satellite type phones, right? The old phones that you had, the long one with the antenna. Now 1G, or the first gen network, was a network that was enabled to simple functionality, which was what? Voice calling from point A to point B. That's it. It's like your basic road that you go on the road, which is a path from point A to point B. Nothing else. The only sole purpose was to make a phone call or to make a voice call. Okay. That was what 1G was. Immediately after that, if you remember, some few years ago, we went to the 2G revolution, and everyone was very excited about the 2G revolution. Now, 2G revolution was a slight upgrade to the 1G, where new things came out like SMS and voicemail. Right? Before that, SMS was not there. You had those long antenna type cord phones where you could, press those buttons and give a call, but there was no text message there. So in 2G, we saw the adoption of SMS and voicemail. Now from 1G, which was our basic road, we slightly graduated and become a paved road, which was 2G. So it became a slightly better road with enhanced voice calling. From a basic voice calling, we became enhanced voice calling, and we added some other features also onto that. Right? So this was 2G. Now, after that, we came into another new era. After 2G, there was a mad rush for 3G. Now, what was 3G? Okay, now 3G was the stage that was set for pre-smartphone era. So now we didn't have a smartphone at this point. It was just before the smartphone era. So it was a pre-smartphone era. And what happened here was data consumption started to happen a lot in the 3G era. In 2G, it was SMS consumption. In 3G, we started seeing that a lot of data was being used. Why? Because we started getting web browsers on our phone. We saw image sharing happening to each other. And we had this thing called GPS at one point. Okay, now obviously everyone's like so used to GPS. But at that point, GPS was very difficult, right? And there were barely any companies in India even giving you GPS at that point. So 3G was at that point, and the data was expensive, very, very expensive during the 3G time, because at that point, people were still building the infrastructure for data. So now the 2G roads, which were the good paved roads, now slightly upgraded themselves to a state highway, okay? Which is now 3G is like a state highway, which has a steady but large amount of traffic. The road is the same, most of the things are same, but more features are getting added along the way, where different things started popping up. Okay, SMS, okay, voicemail, caller tune, okay, then we had the data, you had web browsing on your phone, all that was happening, right? So that happened with 3G. Then recently now, when the smartphone era kicked in, right, we moved and catapulted ourselves into 4G, which happened a few years ago. Now 4G was the latest functional evolution phase that we are currently in, right, where smartphones came out and they became very complex, right? Smartphones had wider data usage, okay, they had better web compatibility, they had different things you could do from the web. Now you could download PDFs, you could do a lot of things, and it had completely a whole different array of things, right? Now you could start buying things online from on the web. It became very simple and smooth, and the web compatibility with your phone's apps, right? You go on some web and you click on UPS, suddenly your thing opens up as well. So a lot of new infrastructure started kicking in, which became more complex, and it became very sophisticated. Because why? Things like social media kicked in, e-commerce kicked in, video calling kicked in, which wasn't there at one point. Imagine 1G, right, where you had to type this with an antenna and then talk, and now we have video calling, live streaming. So many things came with 4G. So now our state highway that was 3G again transformed and became a national highway into 4G with larger amount of traffic coming in again, but now using different purposes also, right? We went from a small basic road to a paved road to a state highway, now to a national highway. Why? Because adoption started happening a lot of people started using this, right? Now all this happened, obviously it's time for an upgrade. So now the next thing that everyone's talking about is 5G. Now what is 5G and why do you think, okay, you'll be like, Shashank, is it just another road upgrade and nothing else? Is that because, it's just more traffic coming in? It's not more traffic always, because if you looked at from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, some features were being added as well, and the features were determining consumer behavior. Right, so that was very important at that point. Now, basically, our national highway, which is 4G highway, has now graduated and become an express highway. Right, it's become a 5G. I know this road comparison is a little funny, but I hope you guys understand. Now, this has become an express highway between metros, right, and even increasing volumes and importance is given to the overall network and world infrastructure, not local anymore. We are trying to build a global infrastructure in case of 5G, right? Now, with this, what is happening is we're seeing a lot of upgrade to the infrastructure. Now, infrastructure means the existing network capabilities that are there in 4G, all of them are getting slightly upgraded. So a lot of new businesses are going to come for this upgrade, and everything is going to become mainstream very soon. Now, where is this 5G going to be used? Okay, now I'll tell you where this is going to be used. The upcoming rise of 5G is expected to enable many new technologies, okay, from e-classrooms in the education sector to IoT in industrial applications, telemedicine, remote monitoring, remote working, AR, VR applications, and many other things. Now, according to Cisco, if you looked at the earlier generation, we had something known as 4G LTE. We were more focused on connectivity. We were like, it should be a smooth connection. A lot of call drops were happening. We have to have the connectivity as the biggest importance. Now, 5G takes connectivity to a whole new level. Why? Because they're coming out with cloud technology, and the capability and everything is readily available for mainstream retail clients as well. Okay, so the network is going to get upgraded like mad. Now, the 5G network is expected to simplify the internet access, such as mobile network and home Wi-Fi internet performance. Now, we all care about speed, right? Every time we take a new SIM card or every time we are on a network, we always do speed tests, right? To understand what is the speed that we're getting. And now currently we're in the 4G era. Now, I'll tell you the speeds in the 5G era soon, okay? Now, 5G architectures, okay, will be determined by software-defined platforms, number one, in which networking functionality is managed through a software rather than a hardware. So it's all going towards the software, okay? Now, this should enable these platforms to be fast and agile, flexible with anytime access to cloud technologies, IT, and automation. Now, why I'm telling you all this? Because we're going to look at all the beneficiaries who are there in this space. Now, let's compare 5G and 4G, or 4G and 5G. Now, 4G networks in India, let's come to the speed. 4G networks in India that we're currently there right now, the maximum download speed that you can get is 8.8 Mbps. Okay, 8.8 Mbps is the max download speed you can get on a 4G network. Now, 5G networks in their low frequency band, okay, which is going to be used for commercial cell phone like us, have an upper limit of 100 Mbps. Okay, 8 is to 100, upper limit of 100 Mbps. Now, 5G networks, by the way, listen to this, can go as fast up to 20 gigabytes per second. Okay, they can go up to 20 gigabytes per second, GBps, okay, in commercial high band. Okay, in proper commercial high band, the maximum limit is 20 gigabytes per second, while the maximum recorded speed in 4G right now for the commercial high band is 1 gigabytes per second. Okay, which is achieved in only lab conditions, not in real life scenarios. Now, this clearly shows how big the upgrade is in respect to data speeds. Why? Because consumers like us are consuming data like water, right? There's so much data being consumed right now in India. And this is very important because now we're coming out with IoT and different other technologies. So all this requires a lot of data to be transmitted between each other. how to look for beneficiaries of the 5G network upgrade or 5G network transformation, right? Now, remember I told you that road story or road comparison, that how we went from basic to national highway to express highway. Now, I'll tell you what. Now, if you see how this road is being upgraded, right? If you see how this telecom road is being upgraded, you will see that there are some beneficiaries in this road upgrade plan or road expansion plan. Now, the direct beneficiaries or tier 1 beneficiaries from the road upgradation plan will be the road building companies and the road maintaining companies. Okay, number 1 will be road building and road maintaining. Number 2 will be the people who are giving building materials for road enhancement. Okay, understood? We're comparing this, don't compare it to road, obviously compare it to the telecom sector, where the people who are giving you materials to enhance your network capabilities on the telecom sector, that is tier 2. Now, tier 3 will basically be those indirect beneficiaries, okay, not direct, but indirect beneficiaries who will benefit from the increase in capability and expansion in road volumes, who will put add-on services around 5G and they will start making money. So these are the few people that will make benefits. Now let's look at some companies, right? I'm not going to not tell you the companies. Let's look at some companies as well. Okay, again guys, there's a disclaimer. This is not a buy or sell. This is just for educational purposes. Now, if you look at Bharti Airtel, okay, you might have, obviously everyone's heard of Bharti Airtel, but Bharti Enterprises is one of the biggest beneficiaries in this market. Why? Because it is one of the largest telecom sectors players in India right now. Their company is currently doing a lot of trials with respect to 5G in India, and they're also building their 5G experience in India. And not only in India, they're also doing this in Africa as well, where it is the second largest mobile operator in Africa. Now, if you look at some of the stats of Airtel, their market cap is currently at 2,88,000 crores, but they're also a very high debt company. Their operating profit margin is at 45%. Their debt to equity ratio is high at 2.76, but the 1-year return is minus 6%, right? But this is only for the future perspective. We're looking at it from a futuristic view. Now, there is another company, okay, which I told you, right? When you're building a road, there are a lot of things that are required, materials that are required. So there's a listed company called Indus Towers, which was actually known as Bharti Infratel before, because they had some stake in Indus Towers. Now, Indus Towers is currently at a market cap of 65,000 crores. Okay, their ROE is at 25%. Their 1-year return is 9% and their operating margin is at 51%. Their debt to equity ratio is 1.28. Now, Indus Tower, what is Indus Tower, right? Indus Tower is the largest mobile tower maker in India with a tower market share of 31%. Okay, and a tenancy market share of how much it can reach is approximately 42%. Okay, it makes towers for Indian telecom trio. Who's trio? Airtel, Reliance Jio and Vodafone Idea. So they make towers for everyone. They're like, tower banana hai, I'm here. Come, give it to me. I will make it for you. Now, they recently announced a joint venture with Dixon Technologies for making telecom and network products, which will be applying to the PLI scheme that has come out. New PLI scheme has come out for the telecom space. The next, obviously the biggest beneficiary of 5G is Reliance Industries. Okay, Reliance Industries is another big movement that they're doing right now. Now, if you look at their stats, just before we go into the details, their market cap is at around one of the biggest. So their market cap is currently at 13,85,000. Right? Their 1-year return is 22%. Their ROE is 7.97%. Their debt to equity ratio is quite low at 0.41%, and their operating margin is at 13.9%. Now, Reliance Jio Infocom, it's not Reliance Industries, Reliance Jio Infocom, another of the telecom big three in India, because there's only 3 big players, has a large mobile network coverage and inroads into the phone manufacturing, which they recently announced in the Reliance AGM that they're coming out with this 5G compliant Jio phone, which is also going to be very cheap. So imagine if so many phones are there, so many people are using Jio platform and Jio system on that phone. Imagine how much capability and how much infrastructure will have to be built for something like this. Now, JioSmart, they went one step ahead. They said, I'm going to give everyone high-speed internet and high-speed data, but let them consume my content instead of other people's content. So Reliance also came out with something known as Jio Platforms. Right? And Jio Platforms again has a wide array of services in 5G compliant platforms with respect to music, video, conferencing, almost everything that they've put into Jio Platforms that you can check out. Now, if you look at that, Jio Platforms again is a very big, it's a separate company. It's again going to be a very big beneficiary, and it is all the information of Jio Platform is given in Reliance's annual report. So you can go read that as well. Now, the third player in the industry right now in the telecom space is someone known as Vodafone Idea. Okay, fair bit struggling right now, but Vodafone Idea or V is the third part of the telecom big three, right, in India, who is directly benefiting the shift to 5G. Now, if you look at their market cap, they're at 29,000 market cap, very, very, very low compared to the other 2 players. Their operating profit margin is at 38%. Their 1-year return is minus 6%, but they're also struggling a lot. Vodafone, why is it struggling a lot? Because they are building the 5G infrastructure and you have to start building that right now. But the problem is they don't have money to build it. They're currently on 4G. They're doing really well on 4G, but they need to upgrade to 5G, and upgradation takes time because you're building an express highway and they don't have money and time for that. So it'll be interesting to watch what Vodafone India is doing. Now, the fourth company, another company that we will look at is ITI Limited. Now, ITI is a public sector unit, right? This is involved in telecom equipment, manufacturing, and the people, if there's any state-run providers, right? State-run telecom, like you've seen MTNL, BSNL. If there are state-run providers, ITI is the one who gives them all these equipment, and this is for 5G adoption. So you can look at ITI as well for government state-run network infrastructure building. Now their market cap is at 11,944. Debt to equity ratio is barely anything, 0.6. Their operating margin is only 2%, but the 1-year return was 26.3%. So you can look at that as well. Now, another very important player, okay, Tata. How can we forget Tata? So Tata Communications is also a very big play. It is a tier 2 beneficiary, not tier 1. It is a tier 2 beneficiary. Why? Because it provides global access through undersea cables. Okay, they have undersea cables, so it gives you that global access around, and also have developed a lot of industrial network solutions across a wide variety of areas such as auto manufacturing, media, entertainment, and even has taken some government projects. So Tata Communications is playing tier 2 game. They're not direct providers of 5G, but they're using 5G technology to do other things as well. Now, Tata Com's market cap is at 36,700 crores. Their price to earnings ratio is 28.9. Their debt to equity ratio barely anything at 0.06, but their 1-year return is 111%. Now, another platform that you can look at, another company that you can look at is Sterlite Technologies. Now again, Sterlite is a tier 2 beneficiary who is the largest maker of optical fiber network. Optical fiber cables in India is like a big thing, right? Now it is also a leading network solution provider, okay? And it covers a lot of civilian network for both platforms like Airtel, and it works with the government of India as well. So you should look at Sterlite Tech as well. Their market cap is at 10,000 crores. Their price to earnings ratio is at 37.5. Their ROE is at 14.1%. Their debt to equity ratio is slightly a bit high at 1.31, not that high, but and 1-year return is at 140%. My God. Now, company number 7 is HFCL. Okay, HFCL is another leading maker in the optical fiber cables and general network equipment like switches and routers in India, okay, which is again a tier 2 beneficiary. And looking at the increased demand that's coming out and a rising demand for these high speed networks and 5G, HFCL is obviously taking a lot of advantage in this situation. Their market cap right now is only 8,600 crores, so slightly lower market cap. Their ROE is at 13.5%. Their operating profit margin at 12.4, but their 1-year return is 325%. So they've actually rallied a lot in the last 1 year. Next, company number 8. See the amount of research. There's 8 companies. There's actually one more after this, but this is the amount of research we do, right? Now, the next research is Tata Teleservices. Now, Tata Teleservices is again a leading connectivity player, and what they do is they provide solutions for a lot of SMEs. Okay, they tackle a different segment. They provide a lot of solution to these SMEs. Now, they are an indirect beneficiary from 5G. Okay, but increased demand and services for the new 5G infrastructure, they're going directly to SMEs because they have a good SME hold there. Their market cap is at 8,300 crores, and their 1-year return is also quite significantly high. Okay, now finally, the last company which a lot of people are talking about in India right now is Tata Elxsi, right? Now, Tata Elxsi is a leading provider in both the design and technology across different industries like automotive, media, communications, healthcare. I mean, they're there almost everywhere, right? Now, they're also directly benefiting from this 5G movement because they're making a lot of solutions and systems with 5G or getting ready for 5G and giving it to a lot of big industries in the market. Now, if you look at Tata Elxsi, they're at a market cap of 26,800 crores, debt to equity ratio at 0.05, 1-year return of 380%, ROE is good at 29.9%, and their operating profit margin is at 28.7%. Firstly, I want you guys to understand that don't look at the companies only, right? Understand how 5G is going to change a lot of things that are going to happen with our life. Right? When we saw 1G to 2G to 3G, we've lived through all of that. And we didn't, if you look back right now, you'll be like, wow, when SMS came, so many things changed. SMS marketing came into that perspective. After that, when we went to 3G and, we had GPS for the first time, we had web browsing for the first time. And web browsing at that point was very bad. The speeds were very low. And then we went to 4G. Now we're at 4G with smartphone era. And you see how the data consumption is happening. Now just imagine what will happen when we hit 5G. Imagine how data consumption will happen at that point. Now you try to understand and imagine these are the direct and indirect beneficiaries, but you should try to look at, okay, 5G comes, what else will improve, what else will do well, right? And try to connect the dots and try to take advantage of that situation. But yeah, so this was the entire episode on 5G, how the entire story of how we went from 1G to 5G. Beautiful with the road example, with the road analogy. We looked at around 9 companies in the space that are direct and indirect beneficiaries. So again, there's a lot of research being done here so that we can provide amazing value to you guys. So again, I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something new today. And if you did, all I want is likes. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And if you have any more video recommendations you want us to do in the future, like something like this, please put it in the comment below because we take our comments very seriously. Okay, awesome. So this is me, Shashank Goduppa, signing off.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and/or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.